Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. This evening, I've got Michael Muir again, who everybody really enjoys. How are you doing, Michael?
Very well. It's very rainy here in
Oh, okay.
Queensland. But yeah, up and at 'em, ready to go.
But the funny thing about our interviews is always that Michael is literally in the early hours of the morning waking up, and I'm just at the end of my day going to bed. So we're always falling asleep, the pair of us. But I didn't know if you've been noticing, Michael, that the
Hmm.
energies recently are just insane. And I was walking up with my dogs, I think it was today or yesterday, and I
Yeah.
was suddenly aware that I could
Mm.
actually see my own angel wings. And they were
Mm.
so wide. And normally I only get visions of those maybe in meditation. But it was a very
Mm.
strange experience, Michael, because I
Oh,
was
wow.
walking up the hill with my dogs with these huge wings sticking out in the road. And I was thinking the energies must be getting very high and pure if we
Mm.
can now visually see our wings when we're walking. Um,
Mm.
I don't know if you've noticed that the energies are quite well, they're becoming not just intense, but everything's becoming so much purer in its
Mm.
vibration. Have you noticed that?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. I mean, I've I mean, obviously everyone's perceiving in their own specific way. But I do feel that uh, people's gifts and awarenesses and the the area of the pineal and behind the pineal, um, which I feel is linked into an expansion of consciousness, is opening up through not only the astrological alignments of this time, which everyone's talking about, and the eclipses that are coming up, and obviously we're still in the equinox energy right now, but all the solar stuff that's also happening, all the solar flares and the energies that have been bombarded through our atmosphere, I feel are part of the ascension process to support us awakening, if you will, to more um, of our truth. And when I say that, I mean that we are, if you will, galactic citizens, even though we're in the earth and we're anchored into the earth and we're living a 3D life. I feel like what's happening at a cosmic level is that we've been invited right now to embody this original blueprint of our being. So that's and I know a lot of people in my sphere at the moment, whether it's clients or peers, are just going through very deep um, clearings or purges, if you will, of energies that are sometimes uncomfortable because it's remembering karmic patterning, whether it's our own childhood or whether it's past life stuff or whether it's a thread from many lives. These
Hmm.
patterns feel like they've been um, unlocked out of the energy field
Hmm.
so that we can, I guess, come back into a new balance, a new kind of balance, but it's not really a new balance. It's actually returning to the original blueprint of our energy field before other things were layered on top. So I feel all these energies that are coming in are really supporting us and the whole collective to release. And obviously, some folks are aware of that process and are able to work with their triggers and to sort of understand that that's happening, and others are kind of just in it, and that's also quite distressing at times, is when they also see, I guess, all structures dissolving a little as we sort of do expand out of the matrix, if you want to call it that. I feel that these energies that are coming in are kind of shaking out the structures externally, internally, which allows then for an expansion of light within consciousness within to open up, and we return to, I guess, more of our innate gifts and who we really are.
Yeah, because the way that I kind of explained it when I was teaching about this, is when you bring in more layers of energy or light or wisdom, this is how I like to call it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a scouring pad, isn't it? It goes through
Yeah.
your system and it scours it of things that no, you don't need anymore, and then
Yeah.
pushes
Yeah.
that out, and
Yeah.
it creates a healing effect, and that can be on a physical level or an emotional level or a spiritual level. And I'm finding at the moment, and I think a lot of people are, that those influxes of scouring just
Mm.
keep coming. You
Yeah.
don't seem to get a breather. I mean, I can
Yeah.
remember a time where you would run a group once a week and you could bring in the energies once a week, and then you had till next Monday to kind of integrate it and sort yourself out. But now,
Yeah.
Michael, I don't know if you're finding this. Maybe it's just us because we're kind of at the front in a way. Um,
Mm.
it's just non-stop. You don't get a breather. It's just constant
No.
coming through.
Yeah.
It can be
Yeah.
quite exhausting. I don't know if you found that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can totally relate, totally agree with that statement. I mean, I think, I mean, there was a meme going around like at the end of January about it feels like we've already lived a year and we've only got to the end of January. You know that, I don't know if you saw that meme,
I
but
think
it does feel like since, this year has been crazy intense, non-stop waves and the amount of solar activity and storms and stuff, it just there's no let up. It does feel like we're in that window of them wanting to really break us through to a new level. And I think, I mean, I believe that it we that the way that the energies are working with our light body, our energy body, will allow us to in the years to come feel it less. It won't be as intense, but I feel like we are in this place right now where there's a lot of intensity as we sort of our energy, our body really rejigs to a different vibration. But then I think it'll stabilize, but I don't think that's happening just yet.
no, I when you were talking, then I was getting 2026
Mm,
might be the start of it calming down a little bit. So that's 2 years away. Um,
yeah.
but, but some of the things that I do when it's getting a bit overwhelming is
Mm,
I take an Epsom salts bath with some
mm,
lavender in it.
mm,
I go out, I try to go by the sea or in the nature,
yeah.
and sleep,
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of rest because
Yeah. Yeah.
our systems are transforming so rapidly. It takes a lot of
Mm,
energy to do this spiritual work, this change.
yes. Yes.
And the other thing that I've been noticing, I don't know if you've noticed this, Michael, but like maybe 2 years ago, it would be difficult to have a conversation like we're having about the world
Mm,
and
mm,
not
mm.
be laughed at or closed down or sent
Mm,
out.
mm. Yeah.
But now I'm meeting, and I don't know if this is just because I'm attracting a group of people like that, but now
Mm,
everywhere I go,
mm,
everybody's talking about
mm,
this, what we're talking
mm.
about. They're talking about
Yeah.
energy, and they're going
Yeah.
on a retreat, and
Yeah.
they like crystals, and they do meditation, and they
Yeah.
don't believe that the people that are in power should be there, and things that if we'd have said that 2 or 3 years ago, we would have been laughed out of
Mm.
the room. So I've seen a real change in the behavior of people around me, um, sort of now moving into their own levels of spiritual awareness, even if they don't call it that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I felt that too. It's almost that some things shifted in the collective field where, um, since really the COVID years, if you want to call it that, that you know, there's been a little crack or a little light open, and in many people, and I think there is possibly through dissatisfaction and uncomfortability, it feels like people are searching for more and open to more. And so I feel like that trajectory will just keep unfolding. Um, uh, and I think that is also supported by the intensity of the energies are kind of opening up people's awarenesses and is allowing them to sort of have different thoughts and awarenesses that maybe they didn't, they were just getting on with the usual before. So it feels like there's big change in the world, which is exciting as well as chaotic at times. Yeah, for sure.
The other thing I've noticed, which you might have noticed as well, because we're both kind of teachers,
Mm,
although I teach less at the moment than I used to. But as people that kind of lead from the front, I would say energetically, I've
mm,
noticed as well that the group that are with me has both changed and got more powerful. And when I
mm,
say the group that's with me, I mean
mm,
my spiritual guides, my angelic
mm,
team. It's
mm,
almost as if I know they've
mm,
always been there for sure,
mm,
but it's a bit
mm, mm,
like, when I was saying that my wings were suddenly, I was a bit taken aback that I could see my wings in the daytime walking the dogs. I'm
mm,
now more aware also that my team are there all of the time. In fact, they're pushing on my back right now.
mm,
And in the past, that would have taken, maybe some meditation and,
mm,
lying down on the bed for a half an hour and, calling them in. And now
mm,
it's like that I can feel and see them as clearly as I'm talking to you.
mm.
So even though I've always been very connected, Michael, like you are, it's almost like they're family living in the same lounge all the time. It's like you don't even have to go through any kind of processes anymore to make that connection. I don't know if you're noticing that.
Okay. So, I mean, uh, I feel that there's a couple of things I wanted to say in response to what you've just said, Michelle. Firstly, I feel like there's been an upgrade with the energies that have shifted. There's been an upgrade. So, um, sometimes I feel that guides that maybe were further away in the background have come forward, and others have moved back. So I feel like there's been a bit of a changing of the guard, if you want. Yeah, shuffle as the energy shifts. It feels like um there's been a guide shift almost as well. And also, I feel that's true for me and others that I've worked with. And also, um, what was the other piece? That this is what I get is that this is a pivotal time. This is a pivotal time. Um, so our guides and our helpers, and whether it angelic, galactic, whatever your your preference or you tune into, it feels like they're closer because they're giving us support and protection because the energy's so wild out there, but also that it's they know that we need to get on with the job.
When you said,
So
you said it's wild out there, it's almost like you get a vision of like opening the front door on a stormy day and then closing it again because you don't want to go out. But we don't have
yeah,
a
yeah,
choice. We don't have a choice. We just have to keep going.
yeah, yeah.
But I do, yes, I agree that there's been a big change in who's around me, and it feels a lot more powerful in terms of protection. Um,
Mm,
because often when we're on a platform like this as well,
mm,
we don't know exactly who is tuning into us and with
mm,
what intention. And
mm,
of
mm.
course, as the energies become finer and purer and stronger, it
Mm,
irritates some of those more
mm.
negative energies. And so we are
Okay.
open to what people might call invisible attack, although we feel it very, very intensely. And
Mm,
I
mm,
feel like my team has strengthened because as the darker energies see us getting more and more light, it really irritates them to the point of becoming quite angry and aggressive. And so the attacks
mm,
on us can
mm,
be can be heavier, can be
mm,
uh,
mm.
In fact, it's almost constant for me. And so
Mm,
I think that and it's probably the same for you too. I feel like the team around me now are, like you were saying, they're very tight in.
mm, mm,
They're deep backwards, the
mm,
lots
mm,
of them, and
mm,
um, and it's very
mm,
comforting for me to have all of that around me, and I'm sure you feel it. Um,
mm,
the other thing that I've been, for people that know my work, I tend to get military strategies, and
mm,
which is quite surprising to me because I still sometimes don't understand why I get that. Because as
mm.
everybody probably knows, I used to be just teaching
Mm.
people how to, well, not just teaching, but
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
job used to be to teach people how to connect with their angels and raise up their energies. And
Mm,
then when we got the freaky flu, I started to receive military information, which I didn't realize it was military information at the
mm, mm,
beginning.
mm,
But it's now kind of grown into me getting
mm,
the bigger plan, if you like.
mm,
And
mm,
the surprising thing that I was told recently was that
mm,
the quantum financial system that
mm,
everyone's been talking about will
mm,
not stay even when it's developed in its current form. It won't be like that further
mm,
down.
mm, mm, mm,
But we will actually interact with the financial system purely
mm,
from a consciousness level. We're going to need
mm,
a consciousness ID.
mm,
And that to me just blows my mind because even though you and I can go into a state of consciousness like that already, it's
mm,
very hard to imagine that the
mm.
whole world will be doing that. We'll be able to just think about sending a payment to Michael and it will just go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's kind of a bit mind blowing to think that in 15 years we might be able to just think of something and it would just happen. We wouldn't even need technologies like this. I'm
Mm,
not saying that I even understand that at all. Um,
mm.
but I mean, what's your thoughts on the consciousness of the future? Do you think that anything with technologies that we have right now will look the same, or what's your thoughts on how we're going to all be talking in the future?
I mean, I feel like well, as you talk, just spoke about the consciousness ID and your awarenesses that came in around that. It feels like if I was to talk about to that, it feels like the energies that are coming in through this intensity that we've just talked about are supporting that evolution in the consciousness of the planet. If we think about, say, um, the galactic realms, there's a lot more experience of um, telepathy and
Yes.
connection without actually speaking. So I feel like this is almost like just the next step in the evolutionary consciousness of the planet. And there's so much kind of backstory to AI and history with that and Atlantis and all of that shenanigans. So it sort of feels like there's what I've been working with people in my work is to release deeply. And it's been actually it came through a few workshops ago, and it was actually in it deep in the brain behind the pineal. And it was to release energy from Atlantis, from the trauma of the fall of Atlantis that some of us hold within our collective field.
Mm.
And it's sort of it's like we keep harking back to these timelines that where it went not so well. And so we have in the consciousness field this fear, I guess, of the repetition of the Armageddon prophecies, if you want to call them that. And I think that's where some of the darker energies, if you want to call them that, play on us. They kind of want us to keep either recreating it and manifest that outcome, or they want to take us down a dark AI path that we create ourselves through our own consciousness, because we are powerful creators. And I feel that, but there's a whole other layer here for us available of new tech. And when I say new tech in this Aquarian age that's coming forward, I feel that it's uh, implemented from within a lot more than without. So it's this energy that's coming into our consciousness field that is allowing us to actually perceive in a different way, notice things in a different way. And this will be a gradual unfolding of this inner technology through the light body shifts and the sacred geometry shifts that we're going through in
Yeah.
our fields that will be a kind of a new innovative technology, but also organic in some ways, I feel.
Yes,
The
because
interface.
yes, because as we've just been explaining in the last, I don't know how many couple of years, it's
Mm,
exponentially changed.
mm,
That is
mm,
the point of being able to see my wings when I'm walking up the road. Um,
mm,
and the new technologies, instead of them implanting anything into us or
mm,
joining us
mm,
up with a tech to a machine, what
mm,
they're
mm,
saying is that what
mm,
we emanate, what we
mm,
vibrate, what we think, what we
mm,
feel, what
mm,
our consciousness bubble is, the new
mm,
tech will be able to read it. So
mm,
it's like you could, for instance, walk up to a door.
mm.
This is just an example. I'm not saying it would be this, but you could
Sure,
walk
sure, sure.
up to the door of the bank, say, and it
Mm,
would
mm,
be able to read your vibration, your
mm,
consciousness, your whole
mm,
bubble, and the door would open, just as
mm.
an example.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not that you're going to need anything injected. You're not going to
Mm,
need to
mm,
be
mm,
wired into anything in your brain.
mm, mm, mm,
What they're explaining to me is that is a
mm,
fear storyline. Um,
mm,
but until we get to that point where
mm,
everybody is of a certain vibration and level, we might
mm.
have to see technology like we have now,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, yeah,
we all have to still get through where this point. But
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
another 15 years, it's
yeah.
possible that we might not need all of these physical things around
Mm,
us, uh,
mm,
and everything will be read based on
mm,
this vibration. It's
mm.
just fascinating to me, Michael. And I think it's a little bit like when you get your light language. It's something I don't get light language, and it's hard for people that don't get it to understand how that all works. But I think in a way that's kind of a consciousness ID as well, in and of itself.
Um, so like I no, so what to say about that? I guess um yeah, so light language itself is really code, I feel. Just as you decode your from spirit and you get your guidance and the information you bring through around military operations, I feel like it's just a different way in to getting code and information. So the light language, I mean, everybody's light language is different. If you're a channel of light language, but my take from what I do is that it's frequency, it's
Yes.
vibration, it's beyond cognition. So your mind doesn't get in the way as it comes through. You're just receiving energy, and it really from the work I've been guided to do around light language is really about working with the earth, working with the shifts that are going on with the energy of the earth and the portals and the earth chakras, that kind of stuff, but also knowing that we are as the earth shifts, we individually shift. Our chakra pillar shifts, opens, expands. So there's a two-way relationship there, and the light language helps support bringing energy. We can be of service by bringing energies through our conduit into the earth to anchor our galactic frequencies through our own energy body, but also at the same time that the frequency of the light language is shifting our consciousness. So it's sort of it's amplifying our field. And that similar to guides and angels and galactic beings, I notice as we move into new waves, the sounds that I channel are different. My throat chakra goes through upgrades, and I am able to make sounds that I didn't make before. It's all a bit kooky, but it's very kind of the energies that I bring through changes with guides and also with the
Yes.
energy through the planet. So
Yeah.
I think it's just the gradual evolution, similar in some ways to
So when
um
you're because I don't get light language, but I do understand the concept of when you're channeling, when I'm channeling,
mm,
you have
mm,
to be outside of yourself in a way. You have
mm,
to stand outside and just let it come in with no
yeah.
um, subjective input. Uh,
Mm, mm,
so when I'm doing that, I tend to think of what I would call God, which for me is an energy. And
mm, mm,
I can, whereas some people can see images here, I can see
mm,
God through my crown chakra. I'm just
mm.
saying it like this so that I can explain it to people.
Sure.
You imagine I open my crown chakra and I can see God, if you want
Mm,
to call it that. That's how
mm,
I'm listening. I'm listening
mm,
through my
mm,
crown, and then
mm.
as people have seen on my videos, I ask the question and then I hear it. It comes in, and I write
Yeah,
it down.
yeah,
When you're doing light language,
yeah.
are you actually doing the same process? And who are you connecting into? Is there a way to explain it?
Okay. So I'll just say what's here, what comes. So I have a strong connection with Archangel Michael. I feel that
Yeah,
um he sits behind
yeah,
my spine all the way up to the
nice.
astral plane. So that feels like my connection that's, I guess, holds me and a little bit protective that I often I feel safe, I guess, in who I'm bringing through. I used to get when I first started, I used to get it's this being a Palladian energy, or it's Archangel Michael or Lady Nada. Um, as the energies have quickened, I now um feel that it's often just source creation energy, and it's stepped back down by a number of
Yes,
different beings at once, but really it's just pure source energy, I feel.
yes,
And sometimes I do get information about it being this person or a combination of three beings, but I think sometimes that spirit just giving me something for people to sort of feel comfortable with, but in some way I think it's energy. It's just energy,
yeah,
and and it's it the light language for me came opened up around 2004-ish, two-ish, and it was just like, I guess it's for me it feels like just if like someone who speaks a different language to their native tongue. So it's like it's pineal based, I feel, for me, and I just need to turn my attention um that rather than English. So so it's there if I want to look to access it,
yeah.
but obviously not so useful in day-to-day conversation.
I find it as I because I don't get light language and I don't know if I ever will. Perhaps I will,
Mm,
I don't know. I
mm,
just find the whole thing fascinating. But I do understand that concept of, when you're in a different country and you speak the language in a basic way, and you
mm,
bring the language in English to your mind. You
yeah,
think, how am I going to say it in a different language? And then you
yeah.
it sounds like that's the process that you're going through, but because you've been doing it for so long now, you can do it quite quickly and without much delay.
So yeah, at the beginning it was much slower for people that maybe are just opening up to this experience, because it is a bit sort of um wild if when it comes through. And a little bit crazy making, like to the especially if you don't know anybody that does it. So I didn't actually do anything with it for quite some time because I thought it's just way too out there. But but then, you know, at one point you just got to go with the flow.
Just
And
go.
but yeah, so at first I didn't have a translation. Some people that speak light language can actually translate each piece of light language to English or the native tongue. I don't do that. I get a general sense of why it's coming through and what it's about. And eh, and also who may be transmitting it, if there's a being in particular. But that has all just evolved through practice and working with clients and working with groups, and been a gradual evolution. I don't sort of get it. It's just kind of sitting in it, and it comes straight through directly. And often I'll get an awareness while I'm channeling it in the light language of potentially what it's about, or just before it's going to come through for a group or something. But it's really like a trance channel, I guess. Sitting in the energy and allowing it to just come through. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
this something that you can teach people, Michael? If somebody contacted you, would you be able to teach them how to do that? Or is this only a skill that certain people can develop?
Okay. So my take, and this is just my take, and other people may feel differently, is that people that can work with light language have worked with it in past lives. I've or worked with tonicity in past lives through the vocal cords. Um, so it may be something that comes through this life for some people, and maybe not. It just depends on, I feel like, your history, your Akash. Um, uh, I've never sort of sat with a client and taught them how to transmit light language, or awaken them to bringing it through. However, people that have sat in my groups over years, um, especially in person, I think it can happen through online as well. But I think if you're sitting with a channel of light language, and you have that within your repertoire this lifetime to bring forth, then I think you very potentially will open up to it. But
You don't
I
teach.
don't sort of, I
Yeah,
don't teach people that, like, do this, do this, do this, and then it will
yeah,
happen. It kind of is spontaneous. It's a
yeah,
spontaneous, like, yeah.
yeah. It's like
Do you
when
know?
you're teaching people to connect to their angels, you
Mm,
basically give them the tools on how to raise their consciousness, and then
mm,
how they connect and what they see and how it feels for them is always an individual situation.
mm,
When you talk about the Akash,
mm.
can you explain to people that might not know what that means? What an Akash? Are you shortening that from Akashic record? I assume.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Okay.
when I'm because when I'm shown what you call the Akashic records, I'm
Mm,
shown a
yeah,
huge library,
yeah.
and you go in, and the library goes up and up and up and up and up, and it's loads of layers of books,
Mm,
i.e.,
mm,
knowledge.
mm, mm,
And often when I go into meditation, I'm
mm,
shown the books that I don't need anymore. And
mm,
I'm advised to clear those literally out, like you would in your own house,
mm, mm,
and then to replace them with new books and new information that you need.
mm,
And because I work with angels, I'm often guided to make them golden. And then in this huge library, there's always a pulpit where there's
mm,
an open book, which is
mm,
just blank. And
mm,
as I stand on the pulpit of the library, I'm
mm,
shown in the book
mm,
something. that I could, could be aware of right now. There's a
Yeah.
message. There's a message for me. Sometimes
Okay.
it's just like one word or a sentence, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's how my understanding visually, because they teach me that way of
Yeah.
the Akashic records. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us your understanding of Akashic records?
Okay. So, I wish I could, but I'm not visual. I get an I'm I wish I had that beautiful experience. I guess so when I was working in it, when I've worked in groups, sometimes I do guided pieces
Yeah,
that come through. As I say, I don't see visually, but I get I can describe a guided visualization when we go into the Akashic records under the Sphinx in Egypt and working with that library to
yeah,
access. I guess my way of working is symbols and energies more than visual. So they've told me that it's for me to work with people's Akashic records through their DNA, so that it's the DNA holds the Akashic record as well as the actual physical location of the Akashic records. So I work with the light language to, I guess, like tap on that DNA through the vibration, the frequency,
yeah,
um, to open up uh, Akashic records, consciousness, DNA,
yes, yes,
that kind of that way in. Um, uh, for people to access more of um, soul memory, if you will, a bit like where you said the opening of the book, like pieces that
yeah,
have been
yeah,
outside of awareness, including soul sort of gifts, light language, psychic stuff, all that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
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 Um, so, is there anything else that you're doing at the moment that you'd like to tell people about? Do you have any courses coming up that you run online, or any tours that you're on, or have you written any books or anything recently that you'd like to tell everybody about?
Um, so I guess my work I'm doing one-on-one work with people. That's just individually working with clearing, opening up their energy fields, or obviously psychically tuning in around purpose and mission work. That's changing quite rapidly for people in this energy. So if people want support around, I guess, light language activation to raise their frequency and to clear blocks and restrictions to their energy field from past life stuff, Lemuria, Atlantis, Maldek, other sort of. I mean, I feel at the moment a lot of people are navigating through old traumatic cycles, releasing them out of the energy body so that they can really step into their mastership as a spiritual being. So I work with that individually. I also do group work. I haven't got any workshops that are ongoing at the moment. My next group online, which will be live in Sydney, but also online for anybody else in the world, is a 2 hour event on the 8th of April for the solar eclipse. So what I do in those workshops, I work with the collective energy field. It's a co-creation, a holding space, an anchoring point for us to receive energies, for us to gift energies to the earth. Obviously, with everything that's been mentioned about the solar eclipse in the USA. I'm sure that we'll be working with that grid point. So that's the next workshop I have. But if people just add me on Facebook as Michael MEWE, or they can check out my offerings. I do also free channelings here and there for people to sort of just really
Yeah.
um,
You put
anchor in.
out lots of lovely work. Because of the time difference, I always wake up to whatever you've been putting out the day before. It's always nice to check my Facebook feed just to see what you've been saying. So
Thanks, man.
just before we go, Michael, you just
Mm,
reminded me when you were talking about different things then.
mm,
I'd
mm,
had like a meditation experience where
mm,
they'd taken me to Atlantis, and I had been one of those Magi, the healers.
Mm,
I had been a Magi healer in
mm,
Atlantis.
mm,
Um, I don't
mm.
think I've ever been taken to Lemuria before, but I
Okay.
often get visions of being in Atlantis, and I feel very comfortable when I
Mm,
read about Atlantis and what people say it was like, and how the technologies worked and things like that. So I feel like I was in Atlantis, but I'm not sure if I had a lifetime in Lemuria. I haven't been made aware of that yet. And I just
mm,
wondered, just as a final piece,
mm,
um,
mm,
have you ever had any experiences or downloads or visions
mm,
or anything? You said you
mm,
can't see, but any codes or anything which would
mm.
suggest that you'd been in, say, Atlantis or Lemuria? Do you remember anything about?
Um, so for me, I have snippets. I don't get full pieces. Um, I do feel that I had energy in Lemuria, and a lot of the light language channels of Lemuria, there was like a harmonic choir, if you will, that really uh there were very, it was like the energy source for the planet through this choir, and when there was a infiltration of the energy of Lemuria, a lot of the channels of light language and tonicity, if you will, had their chords cut. In this kind of Holocaust kind of scenario. And so
Mm.
there's a lot of fear of speaking, whether it's a light language or whether it's in English, their spiritual work,
Wow.
if because of that past life trauma.
Yes.
Um, and so I work a lot with people that are coming into their power around their spiritual work, whether it's speaking light language or whether it's speaking in their native tongue, really uh, overcoming that deep, I guess, primal terror, we would say,
I
about being,
memory and an embedded
yeah,
memory
yeah,
from the lineage.
yeah,
You were talking then, Michael. I got that you were a high priest. So I don't
mm,
know if they called it a high priest.
mm,
Um, it could have been, I mean, that's the words they've given me, but that it
mm,
seems like you were a teacher before, which is
mm,
possibly why you've been drawn to this now. Because I was a healer for a long time as well. So I think we carry on what we did from before,
mm,
and we just keep bringing it forward. And
mm,
the other thing that I was getting when you were talking about that was I felt like my neck, my throat chakra was hurting because of what you
mm,
were saying. And you just
mm,
coughed at the same time.
mm,
Like that sounds very feasible to me that those people, um, like when they used to burn witches, for instance,
mm,
and
mm,
they now
mm,
have there's a collective trauma embedded
mm,
in
mm.
those people that maybe, would want to speak this light language. It's fascinating, Michael. I learn such a lot of things when I speak to you. I really do. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you want it? We could do a little something around that if you want to before we
Okay.
go.
Yeah. I always
You
love
want to
that.
do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Do that.
the other piece I just want to say quickly is that it makes sense that you really hold a lot of space for what is happening in the USA. You know, the fact that you have this strong connection is what this is just what I got when you were talking earlier as well, to Atlantis and America. The landmass really hot, I feel is strong, is the new Atlantis, some people would say. So they're going through this upheaval time to as they karmically release something from that timeline, I feel. So I understand why you're so invested and involved in their evolution, it feels.
It's
Yeah.
also because just before um,
Yeah, sure.
you do your language,
Yeah.
it's also because I've had very strong dreams where I've
Mm,
met Donald
mm,
Trump. And this
mm,
happened to me on two occasions.
mm,
The first one was at the very beginning of the Freaky Flu.
mm,
I was in a tunnel,
mm,
and Donald Trump had like a clipboard, and
mm,
there was military everywhere, and I was just observing. And
mm, mm, mm,
on the clipboard, he was saying to various military personnel, you're going to do that, and you're going to
mm,
do that. And then he was ticking it
mm,
off his
mm,
checklist. And
mm,
oh,
mm,
someone's trying to call me.
mm.
And I, so at that
Mm,
point, I could see that he was involved with the military, but this was
mm,
at the beginning of the Freaky Flu, and I didn't
mm.
understand it fully at that point. But we've
Sure.
now come to understand that he's the commander in chief of,
Mm,
if people believe in the Q team or the military peace plan, I think
mm.
he's one of the heads of that. And the
Okay.
second meeting I had with him in a dream,
Mm,
we were at the top of Hollywood sitting on a bench,
mm,
and I kind of had my head on his shoulder, like you might do with a father figure.
mm,
And
mm,
he was saying, everything's going to be okay.
mm,
And both of these dreams were very profound. It was like just as live as you and I are speaking to each other right now.
mm,
And
mm,
so that's also what has secured my connection to,
mm.
what they're trying to achieve.
Yes. Beautiful. Powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very.
Um, and it feels yeah, I'd love to see what comes next. It feels
Very
like it's going to be
exciting.
exciting, very exciting. Um, wow, wow. Uh, so, um, so I just want to work with the throat chakra, yeah. So
Okay.
this, and I'll work with this little guy. So this, someone makes these for me. You got your little, is that quartz? Oh,
I'm not sure what sort of quartz it is. Can you see it
yeah,
very
it's
well?
beautiful. Yeah. Quartz. It could, yeah, quartz.
See what
Could be
it-
lemur. Yeah.
it's very nice. Someone gave it to me as a gift
Oh,
just recently, and it just happened to be here. So I think I'll hold it because
oh yeah. Sure.
it always
Beautiful.
makes the meditations more powerful. And what do you have there, Michael?
This is these are the I've been working with these little they're dragons that someone makes for me, and this one's meteor. It's made from a
Wow.
meteorite that from this local area, and I feel like it's very strong for the magnetic field, high vibration, home frequency. And so I just want to work with this energy to support the releasing of this. I feel like as you beautifully said, the embedded um, piece from that's held within our throat chakra collectively that is ready to sort of be shifted so that we can come out in our truth, in our speech, in whatever way that, or light language, whatever way that actually kind of um, organically comes through for your soul. Yeah. So all you have to do when I do the light language is just listen to the sound, let it wash over you in whatever way it does. There's no right or wrong, and allow it to do what it does to your energy. You may feel something, you may not. That's okay. Okay.
Okay.
So this with a focus on the throat chakra. Ashkanto do the Kabarko to the Kushkabako Badaganta Kabarshkabarka the Gadaki. Shabatoka Barakaboto the Ragana Kabarakabuka the Gadaki. Shalabarea Baragapria. Shilaboyanda de Kiboriga Madana Naka. Shalaboru Gorka Puto take Boto the Kabataganda the Kaburka the Kabuto de Jungunda de Badaga. Rumbe de Gataka. Jumba de Giboto do Shambada di Shide Kunuku. Jogodanaki Laka. Grrr, Gandadaki, Shambadandarki, Shabadushkibana, Shabagushkiana, Shubaya. So I feel that actually um, when you spoke about that Lemurian high priest, I feel like that was his energy coming through as a in a transmission to support us to release that throat chakra piece. And the other piece that came in and was doing that is that people can also invite the dragon energy to come through. So if they feel connected with dragons, or they just wish to feel support, protection, more empowerment. I mean, we are in the year of the wooden dragon in Chinese astrology. So there's a lot of this energy around at the moment. And I feel like the dragons are a part of this changing of the guard that's come in to really help us step up in our energy and in I guess our confidence, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, that was right. This crystal is pulsing since
Yeah.
you started that. And it's right what you said about the year of the dragon, because they said this was the year of global
Mm,
revolution when I channeled the year of the dragon
mm, mm,
message. And so it's only been active since I think the 10th of February, I think was the beginning
mm.
of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
year of the dragon. And it's already, you can already feel the momentum. I
yeah, yeah.
really feel like April is going to be very powerful. I don't know why, but I just
Mm,
kind of feel it coming towards us
yes,
like a tidal wave.
yes,
That's
yes,
how I'm visualizing it right now. Like we've got a tidal wave coming of
yeah,
energy.
yeah, yeah. I would agree.
I
Yeah.
think we're going to be thrown and elevated
Mm,
a
mm,
layers up now.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
as we thought we couldn't take any more. I think we're headed for another like triple upgrade in one go. Because
Yeah, it feels that way. It feels
yeah,
real quantum, this next
yeah,
piece. And I just wanted to say something real quick before we go, is that some form, I think when we've had a lot of these embedded pieces from different timelines, especially in our community, because we kind of are aware of past lives, maybe more than the person on the street. And so we can connect with these energies. And at times, it's easy, I think, for our community, including myself, I would say myself in this, to kind of feel like something awful's coming, something drastic. And then if we all hook on to that, then there is a potential to create that. But
yeah.
sometimes I've noticed it in my own awareness that I think I'm anticipating something major is coming down the pipe, such as April, but it could be that it's just a massive uplift in energy and a quantum leap in our field that doesn't necessarily have to
A
play out,
negative, yeah.
yeah, play out in something really awful,
And
you
that's
know? Mm,
actually how
mm,
I'm feeling it right now. I'm feeling
mm,
it like
mm,
it's going to be a big wave of energy that's going to make a quantum leap, like we were
mm,
just saying. And
mm,
that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see world disasters or anything
mm,
like that. I
mm,
think
mm,
it's going to be actually very powerful and amazing.
mm,
And the more that you embrace that, the more blessings you'll get from it. And the if you don't resist and just allow
mm,
whatever is coming to
mm.
occur, then
Yeah,
hopefully you won't have too many symptoms either of
yeah,
ascension. Because
yeah.
as we were saying earlier, those big increases in
Mm,
energy intake
mm,
means that
mm.
something in your body has to be released. So
Yeah, yeah.
the more we can stay in the moment and stay relaxed and look
Mm,
after ourselves, then
yeah.
then we'll manage those big energy upgrades more easily. And I think as
Mm,
time goes on, we'll just get
mm.
more and more used to it anyway. I think we're just
Sure, sure.
babies starting out in what's
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
energetically, to be honest. And
yeah,
I think
yes.
by the time we've been doing it a few more years, I think we're just going to be experts at it. It's just
Mm,
going to be, oh,
mm,
well, here's another wave coming.
yeah.
Oh, I'm just getting on with it. You know,
Yeah, I feel so.
um,
I feel so. Totally relate.
when we were talking about April, I did actually like in my visions, it
Mm,
feels like a huge amount of energy coming in, like you
mm,
would see a big wave coming. It feels
yeah,
like that's a lot of energy coming for us. It's
And
been so
yeah,
lovely talking to you again today, Michael. Thank you.
always, always.
Yes, I always enjoy everything that we talk about. You always give me such a lot of lovely information that's very interesting. And the thing that I always enjoy the most is your light language. So
Oh, thank
um,
you.
thank you so much for doing that, especially when it's so early in the morning for you. It's a lot for you to get up that early. So I really
Oh,
appreciate it. And
thank you.
I know that the audience will really enjoy listening to you again. We always get very good feedback.
Thank
And
you.
I'll put all the information underneath in the description. And
Thank you.
I love you lots.
Oh, I love you too. Thanks, my love. Take care.
Soon. Bye now.
Bye.